Ah, yes. Yes, that's it. Literally a feather. I mean, I couldn't believe that this was actually a functioning a functioning watch. Hi, this is Marc from LongIslandWatch.com, and today I am joined by Raphael of Formex. How you doing, Raphael?
Hey Mark, I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Normally, I know you're over in Switzerland, but where are you now?
So Marcus and I, our marketing head of marketing, we're in California actually. So Marcus lives close to San Francisco, and
Mm-hmm.
I just got here the other day, and we're gonna do a little tour.
Nice.
Hosting watch events for Formex. Formex fans, new peoples, working together with local watch groups to
Very
throw some
nice.
events. And then next week we're going to be at Wind Up Watch Fair in San Francisco.
Right. Well, we're filming this. Today's the 14th, right? Wind up is
Yep.
Like the 21st or something,
Exactly,
right?
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah,
Okay.
next
There you go.
Friday.
That makes sense. That's why you're here.
Exactly.
All right, so I guess just briefly, how we know each other. I guess I've known the brand Formex for a while, longer than I've known you for sure. I've known the brand in passing. I've known the name. I remember the words written out on dials and stuff. And then I'd say just prior to, I guess, was that the last time I was at? There was no Basel 2020, was there?
No.
So yeah, so it was the last time I was at Basel was 2019. You guys, Marcus, I think, cold called me and said, "Hey, we're going to be there. Do you want to meet up?" And we met. And I don't know. You're definitely your engineering mindset and everything else is what just draws me to the brand and and makes me and makes me a fan. And everything you do is just awesome. But really, why we're here today is, I guess you're releasing a new watch in the Essence collection, or a re-release, I should say. So is it fair to say that the Essence is the first kind of modern Formex there has been that wasn't the large chunkier pieces?
Yeah, so a couple of years before you and I met, we took over the brand from its founder.
Right.
And we revamped everything, including the product. So I started with creating the element. Actually, the chronograph was
Right.
Our first creation in this brand when we took over. It's still pretty huge for today's understanding. And
Yeah.
then we wanted to create something a bit more potable and more in line with what people want today. And that's how the Essence, hence also the name, we wanted to create a pretty essential sporty looking dresser.
Got it.
And that's when we relaunched really everything around the brand with the Kickstarter that we created for the Essence launch. Yeah.
Okay, and I guess what I thought was so cool with the Essence and so cool with the one I'm wearing now is the whole case suspension thing, which, when you look at it, it's just a gimmick, but no, it's not. Every time I bend my wrist, I feel like, well, the watch is going to get tight, and it doesn't. The watch just stays comfortable and loose, and it's really awesome.
It really does work, and we're also advertising it as that. It's part of the heritage of the brand because they founded the brand around this patent of the case suspension system, because it kind of drew the parallels between the motorsports racing
Right.
world and the watchmaking world. But in the end, what it really does on your day-to-day wearing is it really creates a more comfortable watch on the wrist.
Right.
Yeah.
Between that and the micro adjust that you actually ingeniously built into the carbon fiber clasp, I feel like I could just keyword load this whole thing. It's totally amazing. But you just touched on something real quick, and I guess so. Formex was originally conceived as a motorcycle racing brand.
Motorsports, so like car
Motorsports.
racing. So the two brothers that founded Formex were really into motorsports. So bikes, cars, even drag racing. We took over that heritage, albeit the short heritage of about 15 years when I took over, and 16 years. And so we still wanted to, we didn't want to just create a completely new brand from the ground up. Otherwise, we should have just done that, with the new name and everything.
Sure.
So we wanted to build on what had already been created with this brand, and we're really taking those elements into our new creation. So what our aim is when we design watches is creating a design language that people are going to recognize or already nowadays recognize without necessarily having to look at the logo.
Got it.
And that's why we also put a lot of time and effort in the whole design and engineering process, because those two never can be apart.
Right. Yeah. And what is your academic background?
So I kind of grew up in the watch industry because my dad has a business that supplies to the whole watch industry. Engineering, design, development, but then also manufacturing of those components, watch cases, bracelets, buckles. That's kind of where my engineering side comes from, but I actually studied business together with Marcus. We studied international management, but then I always went back and forth working in product development in the watch industry.
Got it. Your ideas are just, like I said, off the wall. And then so I guess then leading into why we're here then, so the Essence came out, and then, so that was a stainless steel case, and then you came out with this, the Leggera?
It's Italian for lightweight.
Oh, well, it's perfect. So the Leggera came out, and I opened, the first one I happened to open was the electric blue dial model. And I picked it up, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is literally, yes, that's it. Literally a feather. I mean, I couldn't believe that this was actually a functioning watch. Carbon fiber case, the strap was nice, the clasp, everything was just perfection. So, and I'll tell you, so my store is, mostly an affordable store. Almost everything's under $1,000. Your watches, except for the new Field that you came out with. Little plug for that. The purple one's really cool, by the way. Your watches obviously go above that 1,000 to 2,000, but they sell consistently, which means that they really offer something, especially the carbon fiber ones. So why we're here is that you're relaunching the Leggera collection.
Yes.
So I guess I'll let you just take a few minutes and tell us what's going on.
So when we first launched the Leggera 43, that was about 2 years ago, I think. Really, the origin story of the Leggera is that my dad and his company Dexel developed this material that we call Dexelite. It's a carbon fiber composite that consists of carbon microfibers, so you don't see this woven design or even the forged carbon design that we see on the dial of the Leggera with the carbon fiber dial. So that's forged carbon. It's kind of random way of pressing together carbon fibers and binding them with resin. And the other one, the one we do, is actually very strong but easier to manufacture than the woven or the forged carbon
So this
fiber.
would be more, you're talking my language, because I did antennas and stuff, right? So this is more like, the case would be more like a chopped fiber kind of thing?
Yes, but very fine,
fibers.
very finely, microfibers. And so he came up to me, and he used this material to create some prototypes of buckles, and clasps and stuff like that, because that's his specialty. And he kind of posed the challenge to me and said, hey, you need to make a watch with this. And I'm like,
perfect.
Okay, let's do it. Let's try to do it. But then I also wanted to bring in, we always try to mix the sporty aspect, the very wearable aspect. They need to be comfortable. Our watches need to be comfortable on the wrist, and we try to mix that with some, infuse it with a little bit of elegance of what I've learned in product development from many other Swiss brands, and that's where the ceramic came in. So I wanted to have a product mix on it. And I also wanted to be able to finish the bezel, which kind of finishes the face of the watch, like we would finish the metal version, which you can't do on the carbon fiber composite. So first of all, you have the benefit of having the bezel, which is one of the most exposed parts of the watch, finished nicely and give it that elegant play between the mirror polished and the vertical brush. On the bezel, and secondly, it's extremely tough, so it won't get scratched, while still maintaining a very light weight. So as you mentioned, it's feather light. A lot of people or a lot of customers, when they see it on paper, they say, I like to have my weight on the wrist. I like to feel what I'm actually wearing. I was kind of the same way until I consistently started wearing the Leggera, and now
Yeah.
I actually enjoy going back and forth between a full metal watch and that one. It's
Yeah.
just so incredibly comfortable and extremely adapted to outdoor sports, going
Sure.
for a hike, even climbing, surfing. I wear it for everything, and it's, it's actually nice to have a couple of different weights in the collection. You mentioned that how
Right.
comfortable you think the field is.
Yes.
The full
Oh my
titanium
goodness.
case.
Oh, that thing's insane.
So yeah, it's I think it's cool to have one for each occasion, and the Leggera actually does that, bridges the gap between something extremely sporty, but something
Right.
that actually looks nice under the cuff of a suit as well.
Right. So the original was 43 millimeter,
Yes.
and so now you're doing it in 43 and
41. Yeah. So
Okay.
what we did there is, by very popular demand, similar to the Leggera steel that we brought out in 39, a lot of people said, yeah, this is really nice, but 43 is just a little bit above what I'm wearing usually. So yeah, we created this new, smaller version, even lighter version. The case weighs in
sure.
at 40 grams.
That's crazy.
And I think the proportions are really nice. I only have the case here.
Okay.
So you can compare it
Right.
like that. So there is a difference of 3 mil, obviously.
Right.
And
Right.
Because it's black, and black automatically looks a bit smaller on the wrist, we decided not
Sure.
to go for a 39, but 41.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you. Okay.
And it actually also shares the same lug width while maintaining nice proportions. So you can use all your straps and bracelets
Okay.
for all of the Essence collection, even the steel one.
Right.
For both of the versions there.
I'll tell you, it's 43, but I guess because of the weight and everything else, it doesn't even. And I guess the thickness
in terms
too.
of shape and everything, we always try to have the lugs that fall down and really hug your wrist. So I would say our watches tend to wear a bit smaller than the number you see on the paper.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's always, people always say, oh, I can't wear anything over a 42 or is that. I'm like, there's so much more to numbers. There's so much more
It
diameter.
is.
There's
And
so much more lug tip to lug tip. There's bezel comes into play, how big the glass is,
Absolutely,
everything.
absolutely.
And like, you're just a color.
That's one of the downsides of selling mainly online. People can't
Oh, you're
just
telling
put
me.
it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although we're working on a new try-on app that is better than the first one we had. That gives you a sense for how big it's going to be on your wrist before you
Right.
order it. So that's
Right.
that's very cool. But yeah, nothing beats a touch and feel. That's why we're also really happy that we can start making events again and tours
Right.
where you can meet as
Sure.
many watch enthusiasts as possible, and they actually get a touch and feel session with all of our models.
Definitely worth mentioning because you brought it up briefly. That augmented reality app that you guys came out with 4
right
years
at the
ago?
beginning, it was like in 2006 before, now everybody kind of starts having their own version of it.
Yeah, you were like the pioneer of it.
Yeah, no, there was one brand that actually came
there
up
was?
with the full idea. I don't remember it. He actually reached out and said, hey, that's my idea. And I said, yeah.
Oh.
We actually got inspired by him, and then we just created our
Right.
own version for it. But
That was so cool.
yeah, it's really cool to use those technologies to sell something that is actually rooted in tradition and craftsmanship, and then use
Sure.
those modern tools to actually facilitate the transaction for our customers.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess I'll kind of segue in and I'll ask you a couple of questions. And since you were just talking about the case and then you talked about the Elemental before, would you ever bring a chronograph into something, more refined and sweet like these are?
Yeah, definitely. This is something that we could start working on soon. We don't have it in the pipeline, but people ask for chronographs. That's true, even though we know from also other brands that chronograph numbers are usually lower than 3 hands or GMTs. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's definitely something that we're thinking about, be it in the Essence. I mean, the Essence still has a lot of space to be built out as a collection. Now we have the 3 different sizes, different dials. By the way, the Leggera also comes out with some of the dials of the steel version, so the green one
Right.
that I actually have here, but the light is not very good in here.
Yep, I see it. Nice.
And also the white one. which
Oh, the white
really
look cool.
creates
And very great contrast with the black
yeah.
case.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my summer watch this year.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess as an engineer, and like I said, I work with this stuff a ton, carbon fiber a whole lot. What are some of the challenges with working with some of these? Well, they're not really state-of-the-art materials anymore. They used to be. But what are some of the challenges that you face in working with them?
So, you can't usually just take a steel watch and say, okay, we'll just change the material. So you have to do have to re-engineer it and then tweak some of the thicknesses of the material. Minimal thickness for ceramic and carbon fiber is a bit thicker than stainless steel, but you make up for it in weight. So that's the challenge in engineering. It has to be strong enough, waterproof enough, and everything.
Sure.
And then the other challenges are in actually producing it. So as soon you always will have some machining to it, even though it's warm pressed or injection molded.
That's what I was gonna. That was gonna be my follow-on question. Are these dies that are molded first?
Yeah,
or
they're
they
molded.
Just ingots that are machined.
Yes,
okay, so
they're
it's molded into a
so,
rough shape.
Yeah, and they're pretty precise. It's not that rough, but you'll still have to machine out the hole for the crown stem. Then some of the very critical sizes we actually produce them a bit thicker and then machine them down after to have a better precision with the minimal tolerances. And as soon as you need to machine, anyone who has machined carbon fiber will know that it's very, very abrasive on the tools.
Yes.
So you need to use tungsten carbide tools, and even then they last like an hour of machining. And then you need to change them. So that's the more you need to machine, the more the more it's going to cost you. Yeah, and that's it. But other than that, you can't just finish it like stainless steel. You'll need to be a bit. For instance, on the clasp, you see inside we have a polished Formex text.
Yes,
so that's about the extent.
The text that is, it's depressed a little bit, but it's shiny.
Yeah, that's because the mold is polished, and that's about the extent to which you can create differences. And that's why we also use ceramic, which for me is harder to work with than carbon fiber actually, because it's brittle, it's extremely hard, but that usually comes at the expense of the flexibility and tensile strength. So it can crack, it can. If you drop it, it can actually break like a glass. But we try to mitigate that with the titanium container we have inside of the Essence. That actually creates a ring of titanium that goes into the bezel and fortifies it from the inside. So we actually never had a single bezel crack on us since we launched this model, even the Element.
Oh, nice. So there's actually titanium inside here as well?
Yes, the container, it's case-in-case design because of the floating nature of the construction. So inside there is a titanium container.
Oh, okay. So there's more high-tech materials.
Yeah.
My goodness. And speaking of high-tech materials, I guess this is kind of a funny question. What materials out there that you haven't used yet that you might want to?
A lot. I was even thinking about using wood for certain parts, like for creating limited editions, but also some more exotic materials for dials are what we're working with stone now last year we already came out with the mother of pearl, which is a natural mineral material. That's not that easy to work with, but they pretty much got it figured out now, so it's okay. But then there's other stone materials that we're actually working on dials with now.
Cool.
They're going to come out this year. And then obviously very exotic stone material is always cool, like meteorite, which we already launched.
Right, you guys did that, right?
We did that. We did that for the 50 pieces on the Essence and 50 pieces on the Essence Leggera. So it's a limited edition. We can't just reissue them again, even though people are asking us all the time. We still have the smaller sizes that we can use, 39 and the 41 of the Leggera. So that's a possibility that we come out with that again. Right. And then I have one material that I can't talk about for a dial because it's never been used before on a dial.
Got it.
Working on that, so hopefully we'll get something out even this year with that. And then case materials, it's there's many things you can work with, but you always have to ask yourself, how much harder is it going to be than the materials we usually work with? And
right.
does it make sense? Like, does it offer it enough novelty, or does it fascinate people enough to actually justify them paying a premium on just material?
Right.
So yeah, that's something you always have to ask yourself.
Got it. Cool. Sounds well. I guess when the dial comes out that you're talking about, I'll know. So I'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
And it's actually a mix of a really new material and a very technical color as well. It's going to be If we manage to get it out, the way I have it in my head, it's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. I guess I have one final question. What watch brand, do you actually admire besides your own?
There's many, really. It kind of, I don't have favorites really. I like to pick and choose depending on my mood. But one of the brands I've been admiring a lot in the past couple of years is Bulgari, because of their incredible design that they're putting out, but because they're jewelry brands, they're fashion. They have some fashion, but then. So design, and they're based in Rome, so they're it's Italian design, which I like, and they mix it with incredible technical innovation. So I had the other day in Geneva during the watch fair, what's it called, Watches and Wonders.
Watches and Wonders.
I actually had a presentation of their CEO of the collection, and I got to wear the new world record flat one.
Oh,
that
cool.
comes in at 1.8 millimeters. It was incredible, and so yeah, the mix between uncompromising design and uncompromising engineering is very fascinating to me. But then all the independents are doing great stuff now, like Urwerk and BNF. Those like Moser, really big fan of Moser as well. Cool, and then obviously I have my run-of-the-mill mainstream brands that I like, also like Omega. Yeah, there's a lot of brands bringing out really nice stuff, especially in this year. Yeah.
What's in your personal collection that you like to wear?
Yeah, currently I mainly wear Formex, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a lot of the Reef. So Reef gets a lot of wrist time. The Field recently.
Sure.
But then I also I actually didn't have a Leggera anymore. So I couldn't wear that, but I'm going to wear a lot of the Leggera now. But I also like the steel white dial Essence, the small one.
Got it.
And then other brands, honestly, a lot of the watches I had in my collection, I don't find them very comfortable anymore.
You're right. Hey, I wonder why. You ruined yourself.
Yeah, so I don't wear them that much anymore. But for instance, I have the Octo Finissimo, which was one of my Grail watches, and I was able to get last year. So I wear that.
Nice.
Like at home or when I have events that aren't Formex related sometimes.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, but also I like what Hublot is doing. Some of it. I like Breitling a lot since they took their new direction with Mr. Kern. So yeah, lots to like out there.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time and everything else.
Thank you very much.
So these, I guess, by the time people see this video, the 41 and the 43 will have been announced already.
Yes, exactly.
The Leggera, the re-release.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you know what we didn't mention? They're all COSC watches, right?
Yes. So the movement remains the SW200, Solida, fully decorated, with parallage decoration, blued screws, and our skeletonized rotor with also blued screws. So yeah, we went all out in terms of decoration and grade you can get that movement in. So they all come with their little cost certificate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, again, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good luck, and I hopefully will see you soon. I guess you never know.
Yes. Definitely. We'll come back to Chicago next July, I think. There's a worn out.
Okay. Another show coming on there.
Obviously, we're coming to New York in fall again. So
I'll be there.
New
York, I'm always here. Got it.
All right. Thanks
a
very
lot.
much, Marc.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.